Durbin wanted to use this to not only make her look like a caricature, but also to make her look as though here this Republican nominee is all about voter suppression because she believes that felons could be withheld the right to vote. And he tried to out-constitution her, which you're not going to do. And so she brought up not only the 15th Amendment, but she also brought up the 14th Amendment. And the 15th Amendment, by the way, if you want to have that discussion as to whether or not voting is not an unalienable right, voting is not a natural right. The 15th Amendment in the Constitution protects against a form of discrimination that would prevent one from voting, but it does not grant a right to you. That is something that was that is all the states. And I know that the federal government has tried in vain for so long to take federal control of voting, but that is something that was relegated to the states. And the states can control how they register people, when they register people, and how the voting process happens in their states, respective of their populations. And so she was educating Durbin on this because he apparently seems to think that voting is in the Bill of Rights, and it's not. And I wrote in the newsletter today, the federal government doesn't have the authority to dictate to states how and when their respective citizen populations must be registered, and the states reserve the right to nullify laws that exceed the limited authority with which the federal government is allowed to operate by consent of the citizenry, because the Second Amendment and voting are not the same. The Second Amendment is an unalienable right. This is something that is not granted to us. It is affirmed. Voting is not treated the same because voting is not an unalienable right. Rights created in courts by men for men can be abridged. Rights that have not been created in courts by men for men cannot be abridged. That is the difference, the rudimentary difference. And so the complete irony of Durbin's argument and really of Democrats' stance on this is not that they want to elevate voting up to the level of being considered an unalienable right. It's that they want to use this as a way to diminish the affirmation and the authority by which we have these unalienable rights and bring them down to a civil right level, so that they can be abridged without question. They can be controlled without question. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the whole end goal. That is the whole objective. It is about regulation, control, and then doing away with them. That's it. And her dissent was quite nuanced and brilliant. And she admonished him several times and even said, this is not about Second Amendment rights. And he just kept going. He's miles wide and inches deep. He just kept going. He was on the gun. She's playing 4D chess. And he's miles wide and inches deep. They even said at one point, CNN Politics weighed in, they had a headline that said, Amy Coney Barrett says she owns a gun but could fairly judge a case on gun rights. Which is like saying Amy Coney Barrett says she owns a house but could fairly judge a case on quartering. As if one of these things cancels out the other. That's as close as they've been able to get.